In every sales conversation, and when we talk about your job interview or introduction conversation with a recruiter, or when you talk with a manager, basically you are in a sales conversation because you are selling your profile. You're selling your profile as an interesting person, as an interesting employee to the company. In every single sales conversation, you are dealing with three areas. That's why I draw a tripod here, and I call it the tripod model, because a tripod has three legs, and because of those three legs being in balance, you can put your phone or your camera on the tripod. So I call it tripod model because there are three important elements in a conversation which you should use it actively. Number one, think about your what. What is it that you are talking about yourself? What is it that you are introducing as your strength? And what elements do you use to draw the attention? That's the moment that you talk about something, that you talk about your previous experiences, or the company that you work there, or the study that you have done, and that's the moment that you draw the attention. So for example, you are in an introduction conversation, and that you introduce yourself by focusing on what you have done or what you do. So for example, you said, well, I used to work at Microsoft in a product development area for more than 10 years. That's the moment that, because of the name of the company, either it's ASML, Microsoft, Google, Amazon, you name it, because the company, it's a big name in the industry, that's the moment that you draw the attention. So the other person is writing down, oh, you worked at Microsoft, that's interesting. Oh, product development. So because of the title that you are using in your conversation, you are drawing the attention. So what you have done, what company that you work with, the big name, the bigger name, or the image about the study, the university, the company that you are coming from, it's the what of the conversation. Okay, so if you talk about your studies, like I have a PhD in a certain area, or I'm coming from that company, I have done this project, which is a known something for the other person, it's like, oh, wow. So you draw the attention. This is the starting point of every conversation. If you start strong, like knowing what you do, not like knowing what names and what titles and what things, it's important for the other person, and you mention it in your conversation, you are drawing the attention for the next step. So step number one is about what? What companies, what titles, studies, those kind of things, those are your what, is step number one from the tripod. Step number one is the what. Step number two is the why. Step number two is the why. And this is a very, very critical step in your conversation. Here you talk about your passion. Here is you talk about your vision. Here you talk about your plans for the future. You talk about why you became one of the best people in that company. This is where you explain why you chose for that kind of a study. Because the why, in the why section, that's the section where you make emotional connection with the other person. When you're on the same page, when you're on the same frequency, let's say, then people will start to believe you, people to start to see you in a specific position or in their company. So this is why your why is so important. This is the area of decision making. When you talk about those kind of elements, when you talk about your talents, your passion, about your why you took some decisions, and why you ended up in this specific study or position or in that company, here it makes sense for the other person. Here you show your standards. Here you talk about my personal standard is I have a high level of commitment, I'm a very dedicated person, and I'm a proactive person, I'm a team worker. This is about your personality. This is about your standard, which is the reason that you achieved those titles, you finished those studies, you ended up in those companies and got those results from your previous steps. This is the decision-making area for the other person, which is an emotional decision. Everything is happening in this area. It's about your why. A very interesting movie about finding your why, movie or book, is from Simon Sinek. You can also search on the internet when you search for the Golden Circle, Finding Your Why from Simon Sinek. It's a very interesting movie talking about finding your why, what is your what, and number 3 is about the how. Number 3 is so this is the what, this is the why, and number 3 is about the how. Here, when you talk with companies or with managers, you talk about solutions, you talk about methods, you talk about the tools. In what way are you going to solve their problems? Why do you think that you can use those tools and methods and solutions to solve a problem? But let me tell you something. The how is not that important. Because when we talk about tools, methods, those are the things that you can learn during the job. And to be honest, this is something that you do together with your colleagues or together with your manager, because you want together to discover what is the best solution for this problem. What are the best tools to solve a problem? So this is what you do, especially after hiring. Okay? This is about the tools and skills and those kind of things. This is showing the interviewer that you are the right person by using your communication skills, leadership skills. You are the right person for later to discover the how together with your other colleagues or customers or whoever. So this is for later. A lot of people during the job interview, they are focusing a lot on this how. So they try to convince the other person that I am master in working with this specific tool or a method, and I am going to change your future by doing this because I have done it in the past, and those kind of things. So they are not looking for this during the job interview. They are looking for the right personality in order to do it later together with a team, but that's for later. Do not put a lot of energy and attention during the job interview or your conversations focusing on the details and the how. This is something you can either learn later. So here we talk about harder skills. Harder skills, you can follow a training, you can have mentorship, you can learn on the job, you can follow another study or whatever. You have a long time to achieve the how. Okay? Do not focus on this part. So it's not that important. But the reality a lot of people, they forget to think about what they can do, what kind of values they can create. They forget about their introduction to make the impression. So talking about their previous achievements, companies, and titles or studies, and those kind of things, which is about drawing the attention. And a lot of people, they also forget to talk about the personal motivation and the why and the personal connection with the interviewer. So here, this is so important during the job interview, that you have a conversation. That's why I said this part, it goes two ways. It's a two-direction conversation. So you ask questions, you listen, they answer, they ask you questions, so you come with answers. So this is a lot of interaction to know each other better, to know each other's motivation, needs, personalities, the culture of the company, but also your personal values. So when there is a match here, this part, it will become very easy. So the only thing that you do during the job interview, please put more attention in your introduction in order to get access to a job interview or to a conversation or to a sales conversation anyway. Maybe it's not a job interview, but you want to sell your product or your services. So you always start here and then focus on the personal part, which is the emotional connection. And then here about the harder skills or your product or the way you deliver, that's something for later, but you need to get access from the first two.